I'm not sure where this question came from. I feel like I need more context, but let's actually get into this one and talk about it. Is there a way to map GraphQL to entity relationship diagrams? Now, entity relationships could be a number of things, right? Entity relationships could literally be an entity to another entity and their relationships between each other within the database, right? So the database has these entities, which are effectively the tables. GraphQL has the entities, which can be related to each other. And then in the .NET world, there's a thing called Entity Relationship Mapper, which is a ORM style tool. So it could be confusing depending on the naming of what that naming refers to. Thus the problem of the overloaded context of those things. But between those things, GraphQL.net is the primary .NET library you use for the client and some other stuff. Hot Chocolate does some server stuff for you, and will manipulate GraphQL in other ways if you want to do that. But then here's this. It maps it to an iQueryable, so you can have you can use your iQueryable interface object to work with your GraphQL, which is pretty handy. But this is the one that I was thinking of. This entity GraphQL.NET Core library compiles to iQueryable to easily expose a schema from an existing data model, i.e. entity framework. So you can put this on top of your entity framework to expose the entity framework GraphQL or entity framework as GraphQL objects, which is super helpful. ngraph does some other things like that, and there's these other libraries. But anyway, then of course the clients. So for connecting to those GraphQL objects. So if you have a database and it's wrapped in the entity framework, exposing the entity relationships, etc., you may want to use that library, the entity GraphQL library, to expose that as a GraphQL API endpoint or GraphQL whatever. And then that would also give you the ability to, as always, to expose that GraphQL endpoint and have it wrapped into Hasura, and then to draw those relationships in the Hasura product, the API, right?